Buongiorno and welcome to Italian take of thrash metal and a little bit heavy metal in the mix. This one is the healing process with a couple of albums here in one review video. Call it a review duel of sorts, and this tape is here as a bonus content because it features at least one same member with the main band in question, and this tape is Expiatoria. Let's focus that later on. First we'll go through these two self-financed CDs here, so let's unsleeve them. The band is indeed a healing process, and this is Locked Inside Yourself. Features a curious cover with the somewhat skeletal being there and looking at this weird prison of sorts. This is a typical jewel case release, as you can see, featuring of course the CD as well as the booklet and transparent jewel case, as the case here is. Some first images would look like taken from a computer game, I'll be honest with it. And then again, this booklet. So this is labeled on Metal Archive site as, I think, technical thrash metal, if I remember correctly. And basically that's the case here. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's too technical nonetheless, because the thing here is, while it's technical, doesn't really mean it's like super progressive or going too far into the world of, you know, being complicated and all. But it's a little bit less straightforward than some other bands in the question. Think about the Big Four from the States or Germany for that matter, and you get the idea. This is not as technical as you might think, but like I said, less straightforward than that. Then there's the second album, Theme and Variations. These have less of a cover, in my opinion, and it's kind of a more stripped down the basics. And even further it goes with the very fact that this is CDR, self-financed nonetheless, or more like, or more obviously. And then there is this jewel case with nothing much to show for. So here it is. As you can see, the logo of the band, let's give it another look, looks very, very much like taken from the 80s. There's certain kind of a comic book design with it, so if it reminds you of, say, early Anthrax things and other 80s bands, well, it's not too far-fetched to think about that. I don't know why this is more stripped down to very basics and going CDR, because it's the second album, not the first one, and you might imagine the budgets go usually a little bit better, bigger, and all that stuff with time and years and all that stuff, but it is what it is. And funny thing, really, they are both self-financed ones. Then we have this small label release of the Expiatoria tape called Shadows Live. Shadows Live because there's an album called Live with this very band, but I don't know, they have decided to put out a CD, tape, MC tape release of the given live recording, and this is pretty basic. J card with track list, band photo, and that's it. This seems to come with a download code. I'm just gonna show it to you here so you don't get to use it, hopefully. And some kind of Power of Doom Horror Night inlay, not sticker, but flyer of sorts. And of course the very basic tape. So very, very bare boned with this one as well. But like I said, this is a bonus content because we're here focusing on the healing process band. And that's what it is. Started in Italy around 2020. Features here, it seems, two guys during drums, guitars, bass, vocals. So pretty basic, simplistic setup and lineup. And two guys, these are doing, and the drummer is Enrico, who is then again playing drums for Expiatoria. So with these two albums, the band has been quite underground really, with 4 years in the making and two albums so far. Now the first thing is why you are unsigned, why you are independent, releasing self-released things. Usually it goes two ways. First of all, there are not labels to pick it up for various reasons. The style, the quality, etc. And sometimes the bands don't really push themselves onto the labels, which means they just go under the radar and nobody's there to, find out about your given band. But I'll be honest with you, Locked Inside Yourself sounds more like a typical demo than an album when it comes to the outcome, how the album is made. The songwriting is not the technical, but not exactly straightforward, easy to approach kind of a good groovy thrash metal. The thing here is with their thrash is that it's somewhat complicated, but not in the sense like it's overly technical, overly progressive and all, but more like, where are the good songs? Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna hate it, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'll just say it's kind of hard to really like it big time. The thing here is, the songwriting is very, very demo-ish all the way through, meaning that none of the songs are really that great, be it individual riffs or lack of chorus parts, good chorus parts anyway, and then the production. It really sounds like you're like doing it in your own home studio or rehearsal place, and that already, means that this album could use a lot more power, when it comes to production, and the songwriting could be a lot catchier. So maybe this is the typical experience why you shouldn't be skipping the demo phase. Do demos until you make sure it's good. Then send it to your friends, send it to other bands, send it to labels. Someone will say like, okay, fix this, fix that, or at least don't use this and that. Maybe that will save your time and money and, figure it out how to make it better. In my opinion, Locked Inside Yourself is very, very mediocre thrash metal release in that sense. Like, it's just too demo-ish in so many ways. There are lots of things you could really fix and make it sound so much better. So now it's more like a potential and time wasted doing an album straight away rather than making demos and, figuring out the best pieces. Maybe that's why it is self-released. Now, Themes and Variations is continuation of that 2 years later, and this is already quite a bit better. However, this once again has pretty much the same basic things, like not exactly these songs are that great. The thing here is these guys know how to get the groove going on, and they know how to make thrash metal riffs. But the difference between really good ones and the kind of a basic ones, sometimes it's like a line drawn in water, meaning sometimes little changes and make a mediocre riff a really good one, or vice versa. Themes and Variations is definitely somewhat of a progress versus the debut album, because the songs are better overall and the production is somewhat better, but still a little bit demo-ish in the making. So I hope these guys will actually figure it out and maybe get a little bit of reflection in terms of like which riffs are worth keeping and which are not, and how to focus. Now the good thing is neither of these albums are too lengthy or going too many places. They're just kind of doing their own stuff, and of course being on the technical side of thrash metal can be a little bit challenging even for a thrash metal fanatic such as me. I mean, I love thrash metal, but the thing here is it's hard to make good riffs in this given genre, which is not that often liked. I mean, it's not as sexy as, say, black metal or death metal and lots of other things nowadays. So tackling this particular genre and, trying to get the audience going on and enthusiastic about it can be very, very challenging. But even more so, it emphasizes the importance of, doing demos and, getting a little bit outsider opinion for them. But I see this band could go places, but maybe it wouldn't hurt if they had more, people in the lineup, bouncing those ideas back and forth and, honing the stuff a little bit better. But that's just my opinion, and I might be totally wrong, as it's always the case. I'm just a stupid, silly Finnish gatekeeper dude, so take my words like thin air. Now, when it comes to this other band, Expiatoria, which is as old as from 1987, it is curious that this band never did much. I mean, it has been going on and off throughout the years, meaning they started late 80s, but before they even got their first EP out or album out, they were gone. They came back later on to do an EP, and then they were already gone again, and then came back in 2016. This is pretty much explained here. And of course, the lineup has changed over the years. I mean, look at the past members, quite a few people there, and the current lineup seems to be 6 guys, of which three are at least newer people. No comment about the others not mentioned here. So the drummer is the same, and they did Shadows album in 2022, and now the Shadows Live is 2024 release. It's like a live recording of the only album, the debut album. And I'll be honest, I'm not gonna be a hater, but as a release, this is a very, very lukewarm experience, or even worse. The thing here is the vocals, they are so much like over the top, outside of the racing track, that it really is sometimes almost painful to listen to. Maybe it's very, very acquired taste. Maybe it's a certain kind of I don't know, audience which is very much into the gothic end of heavy metal or epic doom in a way, and you then again like, I don't know, these vocals are somewhat weird and they go almost like a sheep going bah. And I like it for some reason. Maybe you have to have some kind of a gothic vampire blood in your DNA to really understand it. Have a soft spot for somewhat mediocre heavy metal and then going on. Now, I'm not a big fan of live recordings in general because most bands are not able to put so good live effort that it's better to listen to that rather than, you know, the debut album or whatever. And this is really the case once again. There are only selected few bands which I really like even listening to live recordings. But then again, you have to be really good, meaning a lot of years, thousands of gigs probably, and then you're gonna kick ass on the live release versus whatever you're doing with the studio work. This is very, very acquired taste. I would kind of say it's borderline bad, but that's just my opinion a bit about it, and of course feel free to disagree. Now, links are provided in the description box, so don't take my word for it, and you can just like them if you feel like these are right up your alley. But word of warning, don't expect too much from Expiatoria with this live recording. Maybe there's a reason why this is a selected few people are getting this tape here. Now, if I got to pick one out of this, because the original idea was anyway to do a, kind of a dual thing, I would say start with this one. Themes and Variations is better than the debut one. And if you like this one, then move on to this one. But that's just my opinion, and unless you have a soft spot for gothic heavy metal, you can pretty much skip a live recording. This is in my opinion for fans only. So if you consider yourself existing fan of Expiatoria, then go for this one. But otherwise, no go. Alright, that's for it for today. So off you go, and see you next time with more reviews coming your way. Bye bye.